for our acts. The sea can be deep for our diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Afternoon to you. And happy Wednesday. Do you say Wednesday or Wednesday? Oh, hey Michelle, good to see you. Good to see you. Actually, let's go with the brown one. Let's go with the brown logo. I had a couple of logos. Here's one. There's another. This one's too depressing. I don't use it very often, but that one, that picture seems to have a more impact on people than any of them. I got that one. This one you cannot see. It doesn't because it's all black. Then there's my regular drawing ones. Kind of cool. We're going to go with brown today. Change it up. We need change in our lives, right? Should we change the color too? Yeah, let's go with green. See, a little bit of change. Oh. Hey, dude. Hey, dude. What's up, dude? Hi, Amber. Good to see you. All right. Well, most everybody's here, so we might as well get started. Usually I wait till the 3-minute mark. What should I read out of the big book? Let's see if it works. See if it gives me anything. No, doesn't. I was hoping it'd be like, you should read duh. Give me a random number between 100 and 164. No, that isn't going to work. Give me a random number between 1 and 164. Unfortunately, that doesn't cover the whole big book, though. That just covers the 164 pages, which leaves out some stuff, like doctor's opinion, the forwards. We're going to be on page 103. I bet it's in like 2 employers or something. Nah. Working with others. Yeah, working with others. It's the very last page of working with others, so we're going to do a different one because we just did that like a week ago. Give me a random number between 1 and 164 and don't fuck it up. It didn't give it to me. It's all fuck you. I can't even give you a number then. Give me a random number between 1 and 164.
$67.
All right, we're going to go with 67. Step 3. Actually, that's in step 4. Step 4, I believe. 67. We're going to start on the first full paragraph of page 66. For anybody that would like to follow along, welcome to the Daily Trudge. I'm Dion. The way that it works here is we all talk about our experience. This is a free conversation. I'm not going to ask you for likes, loves. If anything, send me topics. If anything, send me topics. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. If you ever want to come on and join me, let me know. I'll send you the link. But be ready. Been doing this long enough, I kind of make it look easy. And I do a lot of screwing around here. So, but shall we get started? It is plain that the life which includes deep resentment only leads to futility and unhappiness. To the precise extent that we permit these, do we squander the hours which might have been useful? What does that mean? It means I'm allowing it to happen. I'll be the first to admit it is really easy for me to get caught up in some things that I don't belong in. I don't. A good example, because I was trying to increase some things and help at the same time. I was doing some fentanyl awareness, and I hooked up with a friend. We were doing some. The thing is, we started doing some podcasts on it. But what I noticed a few things. Number one, I was re-traumatizing these people. That was the first thing I noticed. The other thing that I noticed, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but a lot of these kids that have passed from fentanyl, their parents are kind of addicted to substances. Sorry, I'm not being mean. But what it came down to is it was not Dion's lane. And I shut it down. As soon as I'm like, because we did the first one, and it turned out okay. And then I think it was the third one that we did. And I could just feel the trauma coming back up, and it wasn't fair to that person because there wasn't a solution. I couldn't provide a solution for that. I couldn't help that person. And I'm not going to utilize other people's pain for watches, for likes and loves. No, that ain't going to happen. Right? So, to the precise extent that we permit these, do we squander the hours which would have been worthwhile? My anger can consume a whole fucking day, if not a week, a couple of weeks, a month. I have to be very careful on what I get angry about. I'll give you another example. We have this pile of trash in the back. We're just waiting on a chunk of money. We're going to get it taken care of. And this last weekend, we've decided to buy the house, and I went and talked to the kids because they live here, and we're telling them what we're doing. And I was saying, I want to get this stuff. I want to get this place cleaned up and get it taken care of. And what they did is they went through the trash pile, and they pulled out some of the smaller stuff and put it in the trash can for yesterday's trash, which I appreciate. What they did is they organized it into all these little piles that are now sitting all over my grass. And now when I go out there, I can see all the trash that I have. And I had it nice and hidden around the corner. Right? Because it wasn't done the way I wanted to be done. That's what it comes down to. All right. Now, I have two things I can focus on here. Either the effort, the fact that they listened and did something about it, or that it wasn't done the way that I wanted it to be done. Those are my options. So, all right. All right. But with the alcoholic whose hope is the maintenance and growth of a spiritual experience, this business of resentment is infinitely grave. In fact, we found it is fatal. Fatal means dead. I'm sure you knew that. I'm just kind of re-emphasizing that. All right. And the alcohol doesn't, see, this is where the progression of the disease comes in. All right. Where your anger. All right. What are they talking about? Well, they're talking about heart attacks. They're talking about strokes. Anger affects almost every single major organ. Yep. It is an evil and corroding thread. And I can't live with it. Yeah. I've been very intentional lately on just letting things go. Just letting them go. Dion, that's not any of your business. Not any of your business. And it seems to be working for me. I'm backing off a lot of things. All right. For when harboring such feelings, we shut ourselves off from the sunlight of the spirit. The insanity of alcohol returns and we drink again, and with us to drink is to die. But that is not the only way. All right. But when we can only go for so long with certain anger before we're not going to want to feel it anymore. It's just it becomes too much for us, right? If we were to live, we had to be free of anger. The grouch and the brainstorm were not for us. They may be the dubious luxury of normal men, but for alcoholics, these things are poison. And I don't even think it's the dubious luxury of normal, of non-alcoholics either. No. No. No, 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 no. All right. We turn back to the list, for it held the key. We're talking about the grudge list. Well, maybe not the grudge list. How far are we in this? Yep. Talk about the grudge list. Okay. And then the cause, the condition that came after it. Or what is your grudge? Right? For it held the key to the future. We were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. And that angle that we're looking at now is, what am I doing wrong? I'm now going to look inward, not outward to my fellows. Nope. We began to see the world and its people really dominated us. Okay, I'm going to rephrase that a little bit. Okay, we began to see that the world and we began to see that we allowed the world and its people to really dominate us. I'm allowing it to happen. Right? Because as an alcoholic, I've got to take responsibility for my stuff. You know, maybe non-alcoholics don't need to do that, but for me, I do. Because then when it comes to that situation, okay, like forgiveness, people tend to think that we're forgiving other people for them. No, that's pretty grandiose thinking that I can just run around. You know, I ain't Oprah giving away cars. Right? You're forgiven. You're forgiven. You're forgiven. I don't have that power. Only you can really forgive yourself. Beyond that, it's between you and your higher power. Right? So when I forgive other people, I'm doing it for me. Because I can't live with that anger. Right? Very good point, Jimmy. And good to see you, brother. Anger and resentment will consume your body like battery acid. Yep. Alcoholic or not, I've met plenty of non-alcoholics. The man that raised me, he had to have a quadruple bypass because of his fucking anger. Right? I'm sure there was more to that. I'm sure there was a lot more, but the anger certainly didn't help it. Right? Anger exacerbates things. Exacerbates. Right? Rouhani Art Showcase, lived experience. On Friday, Adams County is having a 2-hour party for the committee that we put together. I'm still waiting to get paid. April, May, June. It's been 3 months. So I may go and be like, you guys need to fucking pay me. It's not even that much, but it's not the point. See, there's another way that I can get angry. It's not the point. Every time I'm supposed to be paid by Adams County, somebody fucks with it. Every single time. They're like, oh, well, you have to apply to become a vendor. I'm like, I've been a vendor for 2 years. I've given you my direct deposit stuff 3 times. And then you always send me a check. They're like, well, we need to batch and do this and do that. They don't understand that I know exactly how all that works. So it drives me crazy. And then when I go to somebody, the person that's supposed to handle it, I'm like, they're lying to me. And they're like, oh, nobody's lying to me. So what? I'm the liar now. It gets pretty frustrating. Okay. But I can either get angry about it or I can do something about it. Right? Like if I did it today, now I'm going to wait another day. Got to give it a chance, do it the right way. All right, God will take care of things. Of course, See how I feel about that when I'm driving around in 100 degrees with no AC and I can't get it filled because they haven't paid me yet. But yet I'm holding an AA meeting for them and their clients that they refuse to tell their clients about. See how easy it is to add up? So quick. So quick. All right. And my mind's really, really good at judging. Oh boy, is it good at it. And there's things that come in my mind. I'm like, Dion, I don't appreciate that. I do not appreciate you saying that. Doesn't happen like it used to. It's definitely tamed down. They're not as, my intrusive thoughts aren't as ruthless as they used to be, but they were. It wasn't even brutal honesty. It was just bullshit. All right. Yeah. For it held the key, began to see that people really dominated in that state. The wrongdoing of others, fancied or real, had the power to actually kill. How could we escape? We saw that these resentments must be mastered, but how? We could not wish them away any more than alcohol. Michelle says, does anger have a reason to exist? My quick answer on that would be yes. Or how would you feel other feelings like happiness, contentment, serenity, which would be the opposite of anger? All right. Anger has its uses. It does. I'm not saying violence does. Okay. Right. Maybe your kid's running out into the street. I'm gonna fucking yell at that little motherfucker. Yes, I am. And they're gonna listen and turn back around. But if I just go, please get out of the street. So, but the problem with me is I overdo the emotion. Sure, I think that anger does have its place. It's just misused. Right. Now that is opinion only. So you're allowed to have your own opinion on that. So, but that's kind of how I see it. Thank you for the question, Michelle. I appreciate it. This was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick, although we did not like their symptoms the way these disturbed us. They, like ourselves, were sick too. But for the grace of God go I. Who am I to judge after all the bullshit I've done? After everything in this world that I've done and all the other stuff, who am I to judge? And I'm sure there's people that have done a lot worse than me, but that doesn't matter. I'm not them. I need to worry about me. Okay. Now, what are we doing here? That doesn't mean, now it says, we realize the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. I'm not going to deem anybody spiritually sick. I don't have that right. That would be a judgment in my book. All right. Like right now, I see a bunch of people that are therapists and psychologists, and they're just trying to get clients to do these other things, but they'll literally have a video about the toxic people in your life. That is name calling. And a therapist or never go to a therapist or somebody that uses names like that. They clearly have their own problem with somebody that abused them in their life. Clearly they do. Okay. But if we're running around calling people toxic, oh, well, that person's spiritually sick. So therefore, so I don't get to determine that either. Okay. Now I understand what they're saying. What we're doing is we're utilizing a comparison saying what we're trying to get to here is this. I am not beyond that other person that I deem whatever. I'm not beyond it. That's what we're trying to get to here. All right. So we ask God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, this is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him? God save me from being angry. Thy will be done. I will not do that first line. No. And this is preference. If it works for you, fucking use it. Do it. But for me, I don't get to decide that this is a sick man. This is how it goes for me. This is how it goes for me. God save me from being angry. Thy will be done. That's it. I don't need to compare myself to this other person. I'm not going to. And I'm not going to deem them a sick man. I'm not, I mean, if I was to say it, there's not many people that I don't meet that don't have a spiritual malady. But what do I get to do about that? The point is me taking a look at me and cleaning my side of the street. At no point are we to be pointing fingers at other people for our own resentments. Why? Because I am allowing them to happen. And I'm going to tell you, I hate saying that. I really do. But it's the God-given truth, man. It's true. I'm going to repeat it. I know you guys have been waiting for me to say this. Got to be responsible for 3 things in your life: your actions, your emotions, and most importantly, your triggers. Because your triggers lead back to the other 2. And with somebody with PTSD who decided to take control, what else are you going to need in all of this? Willpower. And you do have willpower to cut off that faulty bullshit, right? So we avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. We cannot be helpful to all people, but at least God can show us how to take a kindly and tolerant view of each and every person. Yeah. What does that say? It says, avoid something. Looks like it says avoid reading. I have no idea what I wrote. No idea what I wrote. All right. The point is, God, what do you want from this? What do you want? All right. So, referring to our list again, putting out of our minds the wrongs others had done to us, we resolutely look for our own mistakes. And here comes several of the lists that we work on. Where have we been selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and frightened? All right. Now, I had to write columns on each one of these. What was my part in it? Why I need to figure, and okay. And this right here, the like dishonest, that's where I figured out where I wasn't being honest. It is the 4th step that taught me how to be an honest person. Right? Self-seeking and frightened. Though the situation had not been entirely our fault, it takes 2 to tango. We know that. Where's that forgiveness? Okay? Because I'm going to tell you, this is how you're going to feel sometimes. Well, they had their part. Where's my amends? It's not your fucking problem. That's not your side of the street. That is not your backyard. Is your backyard clean? Mine isn't, because the kids put all the trash all over it. That's funny. I don't care who you are now. That there's funny. All right. All right. Where were we to blame? The inventory was ours, not the other man's. When we saw our faults, we listed them. We placed them before us in black and white. We admitted our wrongs honestly and were willing to set these matters right. Pen to paper. Pen to us in paper. Pero thorough, pen and paper. Actually, and you can even write it in pencil and paper if you want, in case you need to erase something and rewrite it. I wrote mine in pen, just like the big book told me. It is not texted out. It is not typed. No, it is written. I don't know why, but there is something about writing it that makes it true. When you type it, you don't get the same. You don't get the same. I don't know what it is. And maybe that's just true for me. I don't know. But I do know it says pen to paper. Right. All right. Notice that the word fear is bracketed alongside the difficulties with Mr. Brown, Mrs. Jones, the employer and the wife. This short word somehow affects, this somehow touches about every aspect of our lives. It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. It set in motion trains of circumstance which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve. But did we not ourselves set the ball rolling? Yep. Sometimes we think fear ought to be classed with stealing. It seems to cause more trouble. We reviewed our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper. Even though we had no resentment in connection with them, we had to ask ourselves why we had them. Wasn't it because self-reliance failed us? Self-reliance was as far as it went, but it didn't go far enough. Some of us once had great self-confidence, but it didn't fully solve the fear problem or any other. And when it made us cocky, it was worse. All right. On mine, one of my fears is heights. But it isn't really heights. Okay. Roller coaster, not a chance. Nope. Sky ride, maybe. Right. Ski lift, yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Rock climbing, no problem. Getting on a roof, no problem. Climbing a tree, no problem. What's the problem? Control. I won't relinquish control. There it is. That's the fear. Fear of other people having control over my life. That's the actual fear. It had nothing to do with heights. That's why we set them down on pen and paper, because then we can get to the roots of these things. All right. All right. Perhaps there is a better way. We think so, for we are now on a different basis, the basis of trusting and relying upon God. We trust infinite God rather than our finite selves. We're in the world to play the role he assigns. Just to the extent that we do as we think he would have us and humbly rely on him, does he enable us to match calamity with serenity. And one day you'll find that. You work the program hard enough, you do the work, one day you'll match serenity with calamity. You ever meet those people that even though everybody's running around with, like maybe you're in a building, somebody yells fire, and then, out of 100 people, there's 2 or 3 people that are kind of guiding people out. Those are the people of matching calamity with serenity. And one day, with enough practice, you'll be able to do it too. And people will be like, how are you so calm? And your answer will be, I trust my God. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And